So, hallo, freut mich, dass ihr da sind. Herzlich willkommen zu unserem Kung-Fu-Talk. Heute mit dem Sidai Tim Lau aus Amerika. Wir haben das aufgezeichnet, damit das besser funktioniert. Und wir switchen jetzt auch gerade dann ins Englisch. So, hello. Hello, Tim.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yeah, yes, for us it's afternoon. For you it's morning. But thank you very much to take the time to talk with us. We'd like to know more about you and your way of Kung Fu. So your journey. So how old are you, Tim?
I'm 66 today.
66 today?
Yeah.
Not today. Is your birthday? No.
No, I passed my birthday.
Okay. 66 is fine.
Yeah, it's good to feel nice. So I'm very happy. Yeah.
Ah, that sounds good. That sounds good. I see you wear our Sifu's shirt, and in the background you have the yellow jacket. So I see you prepare.
Yeah. So this is for the trip, and this is for the US. So this is the US logo.
Yes, right.
So I believe we have the bag too. So the bag's a big one.
I know this shirt. I have to say somewhere. I don't know where, but I have somewhere. So how long did you practice Kung Fu?
So I started with my Sifu Grandmaster Chiu Chi Ling in 2001 January. So it's slightly more than 20 years.
20 years now. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can you remember how it was for you in the beginning?
Yeah. Because it's a very different experience. So I don't know whether I should start from earlier because I was not actually looking for Kung Fu. I have health issues. And so I'm looking for ways to improve my health. So I actually wrote about my first journey back in 2012, and then it was put into the 2013 tour book. So I wrote an article in the 2013 tour book, and then I wrote a follow-up article in 2018 tour book. I can reiterate some of it. So I believe it's on somebody's Facebook, but I can basically bring back the memory. So I have high pressure. I have asthma. I have low back problems. So I have a bunch of issues. And I was on high blood pressure medication before that for 6 years on 5 medications. Because every medication, I have a side effect. So I was really not happy with my medication. So I tried a lot of things trying to overcome that. If I can get rid of not taking medication, that'd be great, right? So I went out. Before that, I was actually a 10K runner. I ran. I jog. I don't say I like jogging, but it's part of my. Everybody, when you're growing up, right, you want to be active. So I jog, I swam. So on the day I jogged, the pressure came down. The next day it went up, right? So there's a lot about those things. I tried different things. I tried other meditation, other type of form. I tried some Tai Chi. And I'm not saying those things are not good. I'm just saying that I might have followed the wrong teacher, because they taught it as a dance. Somebody learned it and taught it in a community class and say, okay, this is how the thing flows. You just move and you don't ask questions. So I tried that, and I was looking for the golden grill. Yeah. And I couldn't find it. I was really frustrated, and I kept changing medications. And one of my ex-colleagues at work said, hey, why don't you try Hung Gar? I was like, what's that? And I said, oh, I need your help because my Hung Gar Sifu, his parents live a long life. So, oh, okay. So living a long life means health issues minimal. This is a perception. So I went to my first class to learn Hung Gar from KungFu from Sifu Chiu Chi Ling. And first and foremost, it was a shock because you watch all the Kung Fu movies and then you have a stereotype and I learned some Tai Chi thing. So I thought it was like, oh, you go there, you learn forms, right? And the first class, everybody start touching hands. We call it TQ. You touch bridge, you haven't touched somebody. It's like, oh my God, somebody touched me. And I was the smallest person in the class because it's a US class. And so that's one thing. And second, I got hit. But so it was a contradiction. It was like, wow, this is not the Kung Fu I stereotype. I used to think about Kung Fu. So my ex could say, oh, you stick with it, do you enjoy it? I said, well,
so.
Yeah, exactly. So I said, maybe I should try it for a month. So that sort of took me into the whole thing. And my doctor was surprised to say, after about, so I see him like once every month, so I'm taking my blood pressure readings 3 times a day because it was very high. And it came down. And so he was surprised. Said, what do you do? So I was like, I don't know. Because it doesn't occur to me that this is part of the thing. Then I said, wait a minute. I tried something new recently. I said, try Kung Fu. My doctor was from Hong Kong. He's actually about my age. And he's actually an oncologist, actually, even though he's my personal physician at the time. And he said, oh, you practice Kung Fu. There's no medical reports to say Kung Fu helps. Right? And he said, because I do Kung Fu. So then my doctor, Dr. Lee, he's actually an indoor disciple learning Pak Mei.
Oh, okay.
I practiced Pak Mei for 20 years. Oh, I say, but never heard about Pak Mei can help. Right? I mean, Kung Fu can help. So we had a discussion and said, why don't take medication and see how you manage your blood pressure and stay close to me. Anything you spiked up, because I have a monitor at home, came back to me, let me know, and then we put you back on medication. Because the general thing is, once you're on medication for life.
This is what they say, right? Yeah.
Exactly, that's the general feedback.
Yeah.
Because I changed my diet, I don't eat salt. There's a lot of things you have to change when you're on high blood pressure. So the whole thing started, and at the time when I was with my Sifu, it was once a week practice, but I did it every day just for myself for a lot of reasons. First of all, I was trying to catch up because I was the youngest student. I was the lowest CDI and the smallest guy. So I got to come back, practice what I learned, put a lot of sweat into it, and try to catch up. And this thing helps because my wife was telling me that it's cheaper to go to class because the class fee, the monthly class fee is cheaper than the monthly medicine fee. The medication, the pills.
You earn money actually. You save money.
So I said, you save some money and practice your whatever. So there was, from her perspective, so yours started that way, and I was very fortunate. Yeah. So I think from everybody's journey is different. My starting journey could be very different from somebody else, and that's how I got started. And I sort of developed not only an interest, a passion. I not only enjoy martial art itself. Grandmaster Chiu Chi Ling, my Sifu, he's been very helpful. He's somebody I respect a lot. Everybody is human, so don't he's perfect, he's not human. Right? But he's a great guy. And as long as everyone understand that we have a common understanding between the two of us. So I would try to stick very close to what he teaches. So a lot of folks ask me, oh, but he does this, maybe maybe you can ask him to do something different. I said, no, I would not ask him to teach differently. The way he taught, the way he's teaching right now, I'll just follow what he's doing because it's his class. He's teaching it. It's great. You may have difficulties learning it. I may have difficulties learning it, but I can learn it. So do you. All right. Let's stick to the thing because after a while you will see what makes sense. Because sometimes it's hard to explain, like it's like eating an elephant. Right? You're eating a certain part of an elephant, but the elephant is long and this.
Yeah, it's a good picture.
Exactly. So, in order to get a big picture, you start to do small things first, right? And you climb up, and then then we can take you to the next level. But don't view it from your viewpoint and try to correct some things because there's something to correct. So these are the things I'm telling folks. But going back to the same thing is that what gives you the motivation is the passion, but having a very good teacher that you can associate yourself with and be able to understand and work with the person. Like I say, I have a lot of respect for my Sifu, and I learned a lot from him, and I'm going to learn more from him, but I'm not going to tell him what to do. That's not the thing, right? And people change, it's fine. I mean, we change, we mature. He matured. He's 78 strong, going to 79. Right? Tough guy. Fantastic. And if I could, a certain percentage of his power, of his health, that's amazing. So, but having said that, what I'm saying is that it's me. I'm the one who needs to find a balance, to learn, and make it my thing. Just like you, Steve, I saw how you do it. I saw a lot of your personality in your Hung Gar. And that's very important. And here we can exchange. When we talk to other singing guys around the world, when we touch, we can see that there's a commonality among us. There's also some differences among us. And
yes. That's okay, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. Every move has an application.
Yeah. Coming back to your first lesson, do you have any idea why you improve your health?
Good question. So, because a lot of friends ask me the same question, right? Because it's like, I used to run with you, because when you jog, you tend to join an informal group. So my 10K group that used to run with me, half of them stayed with 10K. The other half went ahead and started running marathons, right? Because it's natural progression for runners. And it's like, you left the group, but you're doing better, right? So I don't know, there could be like three main things behind that. And this is just opinion. Right? It's Tim's opinion. Okay. The first one is definitely exercise. Right? If you do it regularly, right? Instead of because they have up days and down days of personal lives. Sometimes the sky is dark or it's raining. Good, I don't have to run today, right? You find excuses. Or you need certain things. Your running shoes are not good. I want to go out and buy a new pair, right? So this thing, what you learn, just because it consists of so many components in the system, right? One component is to play one-on-one with somebody, you spar with somebody, you do something, you break down a technique. The other thing is you have sets, right? Sets you can do alone. And I travel a lot, except for the pandemic right now. So when I go to a hotel room, after dinner, I'll open up some space and I can practice a set. And if it's not enough, I practice 2 sets. Right? So I can always practice. And I usually find it easier when I can choose when I want to practice. I can do it in the morning, I can do it in the afternoon, I can do it day and night. Right? So people start
or all of them, right? Or all of them.
But the main thing is, so exercise is number one, right? And this thing, fortunately for me, I can turn it into an exercise program for myself. I learned enough of the sets. People say, well, seeing you're lucky, you learn so many sets. I say, yeah, but it's because when I look back, I learned so many sets. When I first started, it took me a year, more than a year to learn Kung Ji. This is how Sifu teach Kung Ji. Other people can teach Kung Ji in 2 months. Sifu don't teach Kung Ji in 2 months. But looking back, this is great. And even if partial Kung Ji, partial anything, you can practice a lot. Right? So that's one thing that's nice. Number 2, I told folks that looking back, comparing running and doing Kung Fu, or Hung Gar in particular, right? Since I'm talking from my own experience. When you run, for me, when I run, I put it on cruise control. My legs move, my hands move. And then I start to think back to my daily problems because I'm still working now. I love my work. And there are issues at work that you will carry with you mentally.
So if you run, you're still thinking about your business, all your problems, and things like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even when I swam, that's one thing I hate about swimming because when you swim laps, I forgot to count 25, 26, 27. Oops. I was thinking about something else and came back. I said, I lost count. Right? So when you're swimming laps, that's the worst. When you're doing a technique or doing sparring, you think about your problems, you get hit. Right? You leave everything at the door. All of a sudden, your mind's clear. You only want focus. Don't get hit. Right? Look at your opponent. Pay attention.
Otherwise, maybe it's dangerous for you, right?
Exactly, exactly. So I think that, and I told them that this number 2 is actually more important because mentally, it actually helps you to drop everything, right? That your focus have changed. You're now fighting for survival.
Yes.
Right?
The mood change, right?
Exactly. You're 100% focused. You don't even think 1% about your issues at work or issues at home, whatever. You're so focused on, like, I have an opponent right now playing with me. How do I interact with them? So that's the second reason. And the third, which is from a philosophical standpoint, is if you have a passion for it, if you enjoy it, it's not a chore. For me, for a while, when I was doing the running and swimming, it becomes a chore because I need to do it. Here, I don't feel a need to do it. I feel like, I'm not. I lost my fun for the last 2 days because I didn't do it. Maybe I need to do it so that I feel happy again.
You like it too much, right?
It's the passion. Exactly, but actually that's what my wife says. You met Sandy. Sandy's a great person, and she's like, every time we talk sales, if somebody asks me something about Kung Fu, I start to
non-stop.
Exactly. Stop. People may not understand, but these are the. So to me, number 3 thing is important, but it's more. It's not a necessity, but it's just if you're doing it for life, then you know that you don't even need to worry about it anymore, to think about it. I can do it at home. I can do it in the park, which I did. I have a park here. I go out. I know that this is a very big obstacle personally when I start learning Hung Gar. Especially, I don't know whether I should consider myself normal. I felt very uneasy the first 2 years touching somebody, hitting somebody, because you're brought up not to hit somebody. So that's the tough part. And also, you also don't have the confidence to say, I know Kung Fu, because like somebody's going to beat you up, right? But there's a time where you come where you felt, that unconsciously you reach the thing and then you cross it. And I said, sure, I'll show it. I'm not going to show off, but if somebody asks me, I say, oh yeah, I learned the thing.
But you like to show it. If somebody asks you, it's okay for you to show, right?
It depends on the situation. Just like when you got confronted, right? Before you know Kung Fu, and after you know Kung Fu. Before you know Kung Fu, you get concerned, right? You try to avoid it because of the fear. After you know Kung Fu, you also try to avoid it. But you avoid with confidence. It's like, I'm ready, but I'm not going to engage with you, right? So if you can avoid, let's ease the tension, let's avoid the confrontation, right? But if something started, I have to end it, right? So that's the mentality, right? Before I'm scared, now it's like, well, I'm got it, right? I'll put myself in the formation just in case, right? I'm not going to put my hand, right? So I'll just put one hand up, right? Depending on how I move, I just move in the situation. But like I said, these are just details about engaging. The important thing is basically what you want to do, how you view the thing for yourself. I think you have to know yourself, you have to respect yourself, and basically, let's say passion is not, I'm not saying everybody should have passion, but for me, there's the three reasons, right? Basically, exercise, focus. So if you learn something that you don't have a competitor, let's say you learn martial arts, it's all about forms, then you lost that concentration because you could easily get lost, right? Because anything that has a set flow, you could, after a while, say, hey, I just put on cruise control and do automation, okay? And forget about it. So we have that too, right? In Hung Gar, everybody has sets. But we also have a component where every class, every time, more than half the time in the class is more about techniques, it's about engaging. So that basically train us to quickly stay focused, don't think about anything else. So,
did you have a real self-defense situation in your life?
Seen a lot of things in my life, but personally, I would say no. So I was born in Malaysia. I was born in Penang. It's actually northern Malaysia, so we are very close to the Thai border. So in schools when I was growing up, in the good old days, there's going to be, especially for kids, for male teenagers, you do see a lot of fights at a time. So we have a lot of people with martial arts, kids that learn, and then they can see how it's amazing how we go forward. There's a lot of people learning what we call Chinese boxing, which is Muay Thai nowadays, they call it, because it's funny, when we were growing up, when we were a kid, we call Thailand Siam, S-I-A-M. So Muay Thai is Siamese boxing. So you see a lot of people learning it. You see a lot of people learning Silat. You saw people learning Chinese.
From Indonesia, right?
Actually, in Malaysia, we have our own Silat too. So this is a cross-cultural thing. At the end of the day, is the art, actually the person who's practicing it. You can learn whatever but you cannot practice it, or you don't know how to use it. That's one level. So we saw a lot of those things, especially at the end of the school term, people want to settle some sports, and all the students would like get together and see people settle sports. I'm very fortunate personally that I try to avoid things, meaning that something about training, even without training too. If you see enough of situation, if something happened in front of you, that you say, hey, it's not a good situation, you should avoid it. You should find a way to avoid it. There were a couple of instances where we were walking down the street, and this is in the US, and you could tell that, if you start moving and people start moving, then you realize that it could be a trap. People could surround you. And before you go. So I was talking to a friend, and the two of us were walking, and he kept talking. I realized something was wrong. Saying, not something was wrong. You feel something is not right. Say, buddy, stop. Let's turn around. Right? And because when you keep walking, and when you pass the first group, right? Because we saw these two groups moving in sync. So you find one group start crossing the street, automatically the other group will cross to the other side. And it's very obvious when you are walking from far, when they sing up. It may not be, right? But just be aware of it. And on the streets, you can always take another block, walk around and go elsewhere. It's just being aware of your surroundings, basically. And I think learning Hung Gar now actually helps me a lot, just trying to be alert of situations. Even before
be aware of, right?
Yeah, there's awareness. That's why I tell people, even on applications, to always be aware of where the thing is coming from. Don't stay unfocused. Just be aware and move your body. Always move your body. Kung Fu is not all about hands. Hand is just part of it. So these are the things, be aware of things and avoid anything, because you don't know what the situation is. Something happens, it could be one person, it could be two person, it could be 12 people. So things quickly escalate. And then in a new environment, if it's in your home turf, if somebody comes to your ground, it's one thing. If you are in you travel some other places, then you just have to be a little bit more careful.
Yes, so, that's true.
To answer the question, direct, no, I'm lucky, not good.
Did you know, you mentioned already a little bit, but did you know Grandmaster Chiu Chi Ling, our Sifu, did you know the name, his name before, or is it by accident?
Good question. No, I wasn't aware who he is actually. So when my ex-colleague is Sing Chi Fang, he's the one who introduced it. So after my first class, I actually, it was 2001, right? And he was actually one of the very few who has a website or something, or internet. So I came back, I Googled him, and said, oh, so he's this guy, right? But still, as a non-traditional, since you don't practice Kung Fu, I wasn't looking for, he's the best fighter. I was looking for,
your health, right? To improve your health.
Exactly. It's like, oh, his parents, oh, like, wow, they live so long. It's like, those are, so the good thing is that there's enough information about him and all this that really interests me to say I should continue. So if he doesn't have an internet website, he has insufficient information, it could turn out to be different. I might find another person, right? Because I was a little bit scared too, because I was like, say, this is something new, touching hands, getting hit, right? So the timing was good at the time. He was one of the early ones who actually has all those things, enough for me to say, good, the information is good for me, and I should proceed. So, yeah.
Did you experience Hung Gar as a fighting art, right? Not like learning sets by sets. So you experience is for fighting.
So right now, that's what I'm doing. I enjoy the part of engaging. I use the word engaging because in the fight, you don't know what the other person is thinking. But in techniques applications, you sort of know what you want to do. Your opponent is one of you. So even though you say, hey, try to surprise me, I throw what hands you have, whether it's left or right, and I'll apply the same technique. So definitely you want to get prepared for all situations with the same technique because the outcome is different, right? Because there's a Chinese saying, that you samsek, means that if I start to do the application, right, that flow, that you, right, meaning that 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2 combo, the results could be 3 results, right? So it could turn out differently. So, and Sifu Chi Ling always taught us, if somebody hits you, if I do this, right? If you have a friend, take it away, push off. Right? If I don't know who you are, I smack you in the face. Okay? If you want to kill me, I'll break your elbow.
Same move.
Same move. Right? So 1 combo, 3 results. It all depends on the level of severity. You want to say, hey, it's a friend who's just teasing me. This guy wants my wallet. It's okay, I hit him. This guy want to kill me, I break his elbow. All right, this is some level of like, so once you get that, right, and you need to practice, right? Because even though it's the same move, the timing of the application is different. The fighting, right? The fighting is different. And important thing is like, then you also ask yourself, what happens if it's the other hand, right? The results will be different, right? So, and that's fine. So how do you flow through? You need maybe instead of 1, 2, it's 1, 2, 3, right? Just because it's the other hand. So Hung Gar teaches you to flow and say, hey, I don't have to flow 1, 2. I should be able to flow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? As long as at the end of my stroke, the person is down, right? And you got to appreciate what Sifu Chiu Chi Ling is teaching, because I find that sometimes he would teach 1, 2 and stop just because the class couldn't catch up. And I can understand why. It's like the more you load, it's more confusing. I got to stop. For people who can take it, it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, they can take it 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right?
That, or more common.
Yeah,
right?
It's just put more to it. Exactly. Because if you find a counter move, you find a move to counter you. And then you counter. And that's what makes that whole exchange. And it's very impromptu. Right?
It's like a playing, right?
Exactly, like a playing. Right? You don't say checkmate, you lost again. No, you checkmate, you counter, you checkmate again. I mean, you try to have this thing. And important thing is you need to analyze it. Even if you lose at a time, you go back and think about it. Next time in the class, once you find a counter, you should be hopefully find another counter when you go back and analyze it more. Right? And that's the thing that one thing I like about our Sifu is that not only he's so focused on Hung Gar, but he's very open to other forms. Right? Look at Wing Chun, look at all this, right? Look at Pak Mei, the way, right? The fighting, right? All this southern style, right? Right? The southern pre-mantis, right? It's amazing, right? All this power generation, and see what they do, because you could see how, not to say that because we have a lot of techniques if you look carefully at our forms, but also be able to go through the thing and how, because if I break it down, and this is my personal opinion, right? There are 2 very flow of movements. One is circular, right, which is very popular, which is very generally accepted. Right, the backward, the circular thing, right? The yin yang thing, right? The eight diagrams. But also there's a straight line, right, which is practitioner, right? Parking, right? That thing is actually linear fighting, and they don't have defense. It's offense. The best defense is the offense, right? And at the turn of the century, of the 20th century, all the bodyguards of well-known Chinese leaders has one practitioner as their bodyguards. And these people are like saying like from the same school, right? So one was guarding Chiang Kai-shek, one was guarding the last emperor, Henry Puyi, and one was guarding the GM Mao. So these are the folks that are practitioner is linear, right? And if you see, and now it's become more popular because before for a while nobody knows what it is because it's pretty secret, and they are linear, right? They fight, they go, they fight, they go, right? So, and it's very explosive for Northern style. And it's good because you realize that they can flow, people flow, and they can flow. And because people say,
forward and backward, right?
Forward and backward, right? With legs, with hand strike up, elbow up, right? So, and the combination, right? Important is not to entangle yourself. Because a lot of folks say the reason I can do circular was because I can untangle. Straight line is hard to untangle, but they could untangle. And you look carefully, they could, and we could. Right? So if you see what they could do, what we look at what our sets are, we could flow through the same thing too. Right? There's nothing as one set dominates. Right? That's the reason why people have every Kung Fu system has multiple sets, just to try to make sure that we cover almost everything, right? Except for maybe like ground fighting, right? Because in the nature of ground fighting is one thing, right? Just like Krav Maga, right? You try to not do the ground fighting because it's, if the martial arts is one against many, the minute you're on the ground, you're gone. Right? If you're in an ambush, they teach you get up.
As fast as possible.
Exactly. You can't do armbar somebody on the ground because if 2 or 3 people, even if they're smaller than you, you're gone. So same thing, because Hong Hei-kun, our founder, is on the land, people will ambush him, people want the spice on his head. You cannot fight on the ground. If you think you're a good fighter on the ground, that's the end. You have to quickly get up. Because you're on the field. But having said that, there's a lot of myths, there's a lot of stories. This is just a personal opinion, looking at what other martial arts are doing. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that. So I just.
But our Sifu is always analyzing and thinking about things, and I think you benefit of this.
Exactly, and that's one thing I really like a lot. Is that, for example, when we have classes here, so a year, we invite other folks, people from Charlie Flat, people from Fremantle, Northern Style, others to come and join us. And this is good because we definitely want to teach something. It's an exchange. You have one idea, I have 3 ideas. When we exchange, at least I got your one idea, you got my 3 ideas. Nothing else. Oh, it's an imbalanced trade. There's nothing is bad. I get something, you get something. Always better ourselves. And it's something that we learn from them. And sometimes they say, hey, the thing looks similar. And sometimes you thought that the application this way, but it's not. Right? Because for some primitive side, we do have mumbo key. Right? And we stop, we have our application, and when we say somebody, I implement this mumbo key, slightly different, good. And then we say, hey, let's play. I see how the things apply from their viewpoint. So we absorb a lot.
Compare and learning from each other, right?
Exactly, and it has a constructive exchange, not a critical, not a exchange. You say, oh, your mind is better than you, you're better than. That's, you do that, then you're not exchanging the thing because, we call we're one big family. At the end of the day, we learn and we learn together. Right? Especially in these modern days, traditional Kung Fu is dying and replaced by Wushu, which becomes a competition thing. When I say tradition, people think, oh, you're just talking about culture. I say, yeah, culture is just part of it. But the meaningful part of it, which is self-defense, is gone. Because it hit faster, which is good. Hitting faster is part of it. But there's so much more just hitting faster, right? So, and the other problem too I see is that people always think that, just like in the movies, right, people can fight for 2 hours. Right? It's like you hit this, I have a counter move. I hit this, I say, fighting is not about one, you hit, I hit. Like chess move, right? You make one move, I make one move. Martial arts means that when you hit, once you control the person, you're the one who's doing the hitting. Don't let the other person, one move. It's like, hit me, no. You take one hit, the person is trapped, you keep hitting it, you keep, you're the one who gives him 10 hits before you can do the second hit. Right? So you have to get over the idea of that a chess game, one move.
So as you're told, you don't like the running so much, so you begin to attack, right? So the other group was faster, so you think, oh, okay, I change, I go to punch the people.
Having said that, I still run.
You're still running?
Yeah, I haven't been running for the last year, but before the pandemic, I need to check myself because running actually just a metrics. Right? So I have to make sure that I have to run. So my focus is very easy. Right? It's actually not for my age, basically. So if I can run 2 miles, right, in less than 30 minutes, it's not difficult. Right? That's my metric. So I keep the time. So every 3 months, I'll just go and do a run, or I run on a treadmill, basically, just to make sure that I can measure myself in terms of endurance. Right?
You still have the same level and maybe a little bit improving, but
no,
same.
Just maintaining, yeah. So I could run faster, but that's not my goal. My goal is to say, hey, am I deteriorating? Right? Just because I'm doing other things else. Because that's the thing I can measure. Kung Fu I couldn't measure, right, about my health. Like in past, people say, oh, it's very difficult to do one set of Kung Chi, to do one set of Fu Hao. I don't have problem doing that, but I couldn't measure myself. But running I could. So I use it as a matrix as a separate matrix to keep making sure that health-wise, I still have that. I haven't measured myself for the last year, so I need to. I got vaccinated. So once Sifu's class hasn't started yet, once I get back into it and you have more time, I'll start doing the running. But yeah, I think at this stage of my life, you got to do something. Also, got to be able to be measurable.
Yes, you want to be sure you have this level and can keep it, right?
Exactly. Like people taking, weights, whatever. I don't do weights. So, but I just bought because of the pandemic, I bought a chin-up bar.
Mm-hmm. You have one? You have a chin-up bar?
Yeah, I bought one end of last year, basically.
Okay.
So it's fun. I tried something new, basically. Yeah, because I saw a lot of videos. I mean, YouTube, Facebook, people doing all sorts of things. And I said, oh, wow. But then I said, hey, you got to start somewhere. Right? Just like when I started Hung Gar, I was 46, almost 46, 45 going to 46. And I said, people say, hey, he's too old. Looking back,
no,
it was great. Yeah, exactly. So I really encourage people to say, whatever age you are, you don't start, you're gonna miss it. But having said that, you can start tomorrow, right? Don't say it's too late. I was encouraged because we have PBS, we have TV, public broadcasting. Say people start yoga when they are 70, and this great. People start running when they are 70. So if these people can do it, Kung Fu is definitely another thing you can start anytime, right? Definitely, you need to know who you are. You need to take care of certain things. You have to, right, at a certain age. But so I'll give you a good example, right? So I used to hit the wooden dummy. So Sifu told me 2 or 3 years ago, it's like, Tim, you should not do wooden dummies. And I was curious. I was like, wow, it's great. I said, no, because as you're growing old, right, there's osteoporosis. Even though I drink milk daily basis, you have to know who you are. Right? I'm not saying you should stop. You should reduce the frequency and phase yourself out, because there's some activities that you're not 18 anymore. You're not 46 anymore. It's like, take care of your health. Be smart about it. Be aware of who you are. Same thing to everything. Like before I was able to pick up, right? Now I said, don't do that. It's bad for your back because of age. Right?
He stopped you to do this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So when people come, some folks will come to our school and say, and they go to wooden, and it's so strong urge that you want to go and do the same thing. I said, no, let them do it. Cool. Ask others to do it. And not you. So I said, okay. And I appreciate that's the beauty about, you look back to the bottom line, he's caring about me. Right? Maybe he knows me better than I know myself. Right? So I really appreciate that, so the Sifu Todai relationship is very different from teacher and student.
Yes.
You go to class, you go home. Right? Todai Sifu is a different level. Right? He look up for my welfare. And this is, like I say, for me, it's very much appreciated. It's sweet. So I'm sure you have the same situation, where I don't have to go into details. Heart to heart, we do as Sifu and him, as Todai and him, among ourselves too. Right? So there's a lot more involved. Right? Relationship takes years to build, and that relationship has a layer of understanding beneath it, and that's very, very important.
But I think it's difficult to understand for many people. You have now a Chinese, Malaysian background. I think you can understand this maybe more easily as maybe few Western people, they maybe cannot understand that or not feel it. Because for me, it's something like you have to feel it. You have to go in your heart and feel the difference. This is what I experienced.
You're right. I definitely would say that this part is cultural. I agree with you. And just like sometimes, like inside your family, right? When you're growing up, and you have a teapot, you have a few teacups, these clay teacups, and one day you think fell, it breaks. Right? I break my dad's teacup, right? And you tell your brothers, sisters, don't tell it. Yeah, right? It's the same thing. Sometimes it's like, seeing, I did something, so if Sifu asks, so in a way it's fun. I mean, nowadays, the good thing with Sifu is very open-minded, right? It's actually, he could be childish sometimes. He likes to be, and this is part of growing mature. Sometimes because you play with your grandkids. I have a grandkid, so you play with them. You start to talk like babies. You start to talk like kids. He's that level too sometimes. So his mode opens up. When I first joined him, this is a good one. He was very tough. You know that, right? So let me tell you the situation. When I first joined, he was really hard on us, right? Especially my seeing and me. And the terms he used, it's all Cantonese, right? And we'll do something, we thought we'd do it right, and he said, no. And he used the word mo yong, useless. So like, you're useless. I was like, I tried. And then talk encouraging, he's not encouraging. It's like, he's like, teach you and you're not learning it right, right? Nowadays, that vocabulary has gone. And he's trying to be encouraging. He's trying to, oh yeah, don't worry, yeah, looks good. Yeah, just practice more. Even though it's
Maybe
like,
a little more like this or a little more like this.
Exactly. He softened it so much. It's like in the good old days, I would say I would use the word moyo. So I told my students, you guys are really fortunate. In the good old days.
I remember that very well. He said, no.
Exactly.
I show very slowly. Exactly. I don't know why you cannot get it. Very funny.
So you can share that part of it's good. It's good that it has changed. But having said that too, it's good for certain things, it's bad for certain things because if you would have used those terms early on, if I look back, some of the students would feel better at the time to say, oh, okay, my teacher is encouraging, because it was so traditional. That it's like, you're not meeting my standard, right? It's like, that's some things. So, but I got to give him credit. He changed. He cares. Yes. But his style communicating is getting better. Now, having said that, it's still traditional. Right?
Yes.
You feel it. I feel it. We know it. We are all here for him. He's for us. So,
I'd like to mention one point you wrote at the program book. I remember you wrote something like, now you understand 30% of the system, and then you realize something. So let us talk about this.
Very good question. My first journey. So I wrote 2013 and 2018. So it's funny, after the first 2 years, when I learned 2 sets of this, 1 set of weapon, then I said, and it's not because of, it's outside friends. I said, oh, you learned Hung Gar from Chiu Chi Ling. Oh, how is it? So are you 50% of Chiu Chi Ling? So I was very naive, right? I was like, no, I think I'm some percentage. I forgot what percentage he gave. But it was like, and the reason I gave that was because I can only see what he taught me and others in class, not realizing that it's a lot he haven't shown us. So I said, and people say, if that's the case, just like, you use 20%, that means multiplied by 5, you learn everything, right? So, and then as I went along, and now it's 20 years, now you ask me, I will still give you the same percentage. There's so much more I don't understand. Right? Just because at the time at the level, he opened another window for me to look in. Right? So, and just like if you climb a multi-level pagoda, if you're on the second level, you only see so much. And then you say, I can see the world. And they said, now let me take you to the 3rd level of the pagoda. And you say, I can see more. Oh, okay. Maybe. And then after a while, they say, I see everything. And I said, no, let me take you to the 4th level of the pagoda. Right? And you see more. So definitely, the more you learn, the more you realize, the less you know. You get better at certain things, right? Because of the constant practice. And you feel very confident about what you learn and be able to apply. But there's so much more that either he hasn't shown me, or by accident he showed me. I was very fortunate because in certain period of my 20 years with him, there was a period of a few years, at least 3 years, where it's one-to-one. And that part was good for a lot of reasons, because then it's all my pace and his pace. He pushed me a lot. I learned a lot from him. Also, I learned a lot the last 5 years, learning how to teach under him, right? Teaching the class, because he's always not here. I would say he's always not here. He travels about 4 months of the year, right? 4 to 6 months, depending whether he's making movies or not. So that helped me. So when you teach, you learn more things too. The other part is that sometimes one-on-one, in traditional teaching, it all depends on the Sifu's feeling of that class, right? So we'll teach, and then he feels really good. Right? He starts taking a beer. Right? Sifu loves to drink. I'm sure you know that. Right? He don't drink in class, but one-on-one, he's like, okay, I teach you this, and then get a little bit tipsy. Then he starts the show, right? And his favorite moves are a monkey. Just so you know. It's amazing when he gets a little bit tipsy, because that it's not even you can call it a form, but actually it's more of a jam. I mean, it's an impromptu thing. He flows. He's on the floor. So then I'm the spectator, and he's showing. I was like, that's great. And then I'm trying to follow like one step behind. I was like, and then because it's so fluid. For a person of that size, be able to flow, make it so effortlessly. But then you can tell that in that flow, any movement can turn into a power move. Right? Like I said, there are moments with that thing that binds me to the system, was because, and so I've done that at least a few times, and everything is different. That means I could tell that if you learn all these things, and after a while, you can combine any movement you want and just do it. That's my faith. Okay, this looking from the outside, maybe he really know the whole set. Or there's a set that is, but I'm like, the power of being able to flow through anything, he has it, and that's when you reach the level. I realize that it's like, if I can reach the level, that'd be fantastic. Right? Just flow through it and call it a monkey, call it something. Right? So the brand monkey is fun, because nowadays we saw people play monkey in Hung Gar, like Lau Ga Liao, all these folks, right? Sifu. Yeah,
I remember you told me first time about the monkey, and he make you a very hard time. You told me, I remember that.
So one, especially one day, and the way it happened is so funny, because remember we have the monkey steak, or the Hung Ji Guan or Hao Ji Guan. It's either called traveler's steak or monkey steak, right? The double post steak. So in way back when I first learned it, we start off with throw the thing, grab it, and start. And then so one day I tried doing that, I said, no, wrong. Okay. I said, no, put the steak maybe about 15 feet in front of you. I said, oh, okay. Then you start doing the monkey stuff. Then you start showing. Yeah? So all of a sudden I learned that set before touching the steak.
The preset, actually.
It's a preset, exactly. It was good. And we spent a few classes. As I said, at the time we was doing the one-on-one. I was very fortunate just to, like I said, nothing compared to what I saw him doing after he drank and stuff. It was just part, like I say, even learning that part, I was very happy. I be able to, basically what I did was be able to do a lot of movements, monkey style wise, and then approach the stick. And then the last two parts was, because your timing needs to be, your distance judging needs to be good, right? Because at the end, you have to have one foot on the stake so that you can pull the foot back so that the stake rolls up your foot, and then you kick it, and then you hold it, and you kick it, and you do this, right? So, and that actually we have to do it with two roll forward, right? Oh, I'm sorry, one roll forward, two, right? So the two of them is important. The first one, if you are too close, you go sideways. If you're too far, you go straight, right? You want to eat up the distance. So that whole preset was to help you to gauge the distance and eat up the distance, to eat up the gap, so that by the time you do the second one, your right foot is on top of the middle of the stick. So it was good. It was good. Looking back, I enjoyed it very much. I wish I could find a space I can put a stick 15, to 20 feet away and just do this. Because then one day I placed to say, so I said, Sifu, sure. Because I was thinking about walking to the stick and move it closer. I said, why are you doing that? Let me show you. I was like, okay. So what he did was he did a monkey. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. He's so impromptu implementing something. He looks like fun. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's more of who you are, how to analyze the situation, and then supplementing things, implementing things. See flow look very nice, and it's
flow, right? It's the flow.
It's the flow. Even when he did the monkey claw hopping, that's the kick, right? It's like escaping, but you can do just like the filmmaker, right? It's I say any movie you do is a technique. The whole concept is amazing. Like I say, that's why the passion comes in, just because once you appreciate them and you enjoy, you don't appreciate them, then you lost.
And not, yeah. I understand. So I think slowly we have to come to an end. It's already 1 hour.
Right.
No problem. What do you like to say to the Swiss people or to the international audience we have right here? What is your message you like to spread out to the world?
At least a couple of things. I think the first one is that from personal experience, I would say that learning Kung Fu or learning anything that has exercise and into it is a very important part of your health. So I approach it from a health perspective, and it worked for me, and you should work for every one of us. So I really encourage that anybody, especially for people who has not, who is what we call doing sedentary work on the office, or people who talks a lot about things, including martial arts, and don't get into it. No, get into it, right? Just be part of the active program of playing, of learning martial arts. That's number one. Number two, as I mentioned earlier, martial arts is inclusive. It's very diverse. We are using Hung Gar as a staging point ourselves, because you can learn 10 different arts, and that's good. But then if you look at what time you have, you don't spend 2 years learning this, 2 years learning that, then you learn all the basics, and you're going to get deep. But as long as you learn one deep, but appreciate the art of martial arts and encompasses it, because once you get the gist of what you learn very deep, then you will appreciate the others, and you can actually incorporate others even better, more. And you can form a close friendship with all this diverse background. And one thing we realized that Kung Fu, especially Hung Gar being taught by our teacher, is that we all can speak different languages, but the common language is the Kung Fu itself. The minute you start moving, that is a communication language. And I find it so useful when I talk to people who may not understand me because, of my accented English. But when we start moving, things get very easy communicated. So, and I hope this will help us to have a better understanding globally.
Very nice words. So thank you, Sida Tim. Thank you for your time. Give us a few seconds to finish this, and then we can talk a little bit more, because we know each other a very long time. So maybe we have to talk a little bit about the time is going. So okay. Thanks a lot, Tim.
Thank you. Yeah, time flies. It was fast.
Yes, that's so. Danke, liebe Zuschauer, fürs Zuschauen. Wir sind dann nächste Woche gerne wieder da. Gewöhnlich wie immer am Donnerstagabend. Und ja, ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Schreibt in die Kommentare rein. Ich versuche das zu beantworten, allenfalls mit dem Tim zu klären. So, das ist jetzt ein Kung-Fu-Brüder von mir aus Amerika. Das ist der Sihin von der Schule in Amerika und der Grossmeister Chiu Chi Ling. Danke vielmals fürs Zuschauen und bis ein anderes Mal.
Schön.